Hey, I'm Tim Shoup. I'd like to introduce part two of our two-part podcast with Steve Wilmer. The first episode covered segments 1 and 2 about Steve's rise through the ranks and how he used technology to do that. In this episode, we'll conclude his podcast with segments 3, the power of public speaking, and segment 4, where we'll listen to sound bites of motivational speeches, guess who they are, and see how Steve's journey relates to either one. If you missed part 1, please take the time to go back and listen to that one before listening to this one. And Nerds on Tap is sponsored by Digital Boardwalk, one of the fastest growing managed IT service providers in America, ranked number 8 in the country, providing IT, cybersecurity, and cloud management to small and medium businesses, and Smarter Web, an AI and data-driven marketing company, the sister company of Digital Boardwalk, providing leading-edge marketing services to small and medium-sized businesses nationwide. Brief overview of our episode today. We'll be talking to Mr. Steve Wilmer sitting right next to me, and I'll introduce him in just a minute. We're going to be talking about the power of public speaking and writing, and then we'll wrap it up with a surprise segment regarding motivational speakers, and then we'll get some takeaways. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nerds on Tap. I'm your host, Tim Shoup, and I couldn't be more excited to embark on this nerdy adventure with all of you. So grab your favorite brew, because things are about to get exciting.
3, 2, 1, go!
All right, beer number 3 from the Lexington Brewing and Distilling Company, the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale, American Strong Ale. It's 8% ABV, a unique sipping beer with a distinctive nose of well-crafted bourbon, aged for up to 6 weeks in freshly decanted bourbon barrels with some of Kentucky's finest distilleries. Subtle flavors of vanilla and oak, presently smooth and robust.
All right, let's taste this bad boy. Did you catch up? He just downed number 2, so we're going to make him... This one's a little bit darker.
I don't know about that one.
Hey, I'm okay with a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There we go.
Oh, he just shot that. That's not a shooter.
Well, it is now,
You liked it?
but I do like it.
Yeah, that's definitely...
My favorite one so far.
That's nice.
That's got a lot of tones in it.
Yeah.
A lot of different... kind of a nutty, almost.
That was nice.
It's like a nutty flavor.
That's
A
probably
little
the
orange, a
flavor-
little nut. I don't know.
That's the most more twang, but flavorful.
Yeah.
More flavorful.
Well, I heard you like bourbon, so that's why I got that one.
Hey,
Bourbon
there
barrel.
you go. Bourbon and whiskey.
Love it. We almost brought bourbon on the show, but we didn't want to get off brand.
Can't stop.
All right, that was a tasty beer. Let's get into segment 3 before we finish with our fun surprise segment. So we're going to talk about the power
Surprise
of...
segment.
Yeah,
You'll see.
All right.
yeah. Well, you already heard part of it.
All right.
The power of public speaking and writing, public speaking insights. We're going to...
Oh, yeah, I love this.
I want to talk about Steve's public speaking journey, crafting Steve Speaks, and the key messages that you deliver in your talk. So take it away.
I started public speaking on accident. I'm telling you, Tim, our journey,
I don't believe it.
bro, BNI.
Not B&E, but B&I.
BNI, Business Network International. They voted me the president. And what does the president do every single week?
Speaks.
The president gets up
Steve
in
Speaks.
front of a group of people and welcome people. That's how I started. So every week I'm doing that. I'm doing it. And then I started doing small BNI presentations. Remember Visitors Day?
Oh, yeah.
I started doing small presentations, and here's how it started. I wasn't even thinking about speaking. And Mary Reesberg came up to me and she says to me, "Where did you learn how to do that?" And I said, "Do what? What are you talking about?" She says, "You're speaking, you're this and that, and I'm John Maxwell certified and all this stuff." And I said, "I don't know. I just speak."
Yeah.
And she was talking about how she's seen speakers and no one can speak the way I speak and yada. And then here's how I started getting paid. I'm speaking one day for free because I wasn't even thinking about being a speaker. I was going to be a State Farm agent. I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
about speaking. And somebody said this to me. How much would you charge me
Cool.
to come and speak
Money
to
talks.
our group?
Money
And I
talks, Steve
said,
speaks.
Charge? And bro, that's how it started. So
So wait.
if you
So
want to,
hang on.
Okay.
Let's go back to BNI.
all right.
So the one thing I remember about BNI is when Steve speaks or Steve spoke, we would be buzzing him constantly because he couldn't stop. That's what I remember.
So you got to
kidding.
learn that when you're a professional speaker,
You got to
So-
stay on mark.
man, I'm telling you, you learn so much. When you are a speaker and somebody's paying you, because I see this happen a lot, and you are being paid to speak an hour, you speak 50 minutes. You're being paid to speak for an hour and a half, you better speak for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You want to leave that extra time. You want to leave that
Q&A too.
Q&A. You want to leave
Yeah.
that Q. You want to make sure. And it's always, so I'm giving away some secrets here. The reason that you want to do that is you always want to be invited back. So if a company hires you to speak for an hour and a half or an hour, you speak for 45 minutes, it's always, guys, I don't have a lot of time. Got so much information to give you, but today I just don't have a lot of time to give you all this information. You know, maybe if we see each other, if you give them every single thing,
Yeah, you're just trying
you
to
don't, why do you,
reel them in.
I'm just telling you, for those of you who want to be a speaker, I want you to remember the two most important rules to being a speaker. Here's rule number 1. You never give them all the information.
Got it?
I mean, that's like
Yeah,
a good
that
movie,
makes sense.
right? If you can leave a little to mystery,
Yep.
right, and a little questions after you watch the film, that's gonna.
You could
impact
break
a lot
down
more.
one talk into 3 talks, break it up into 3. You're coming back 2 more times.
Coming back 2 more times.
So,
I'm telling
Makes
you.
sense.
I love it. So I watched your keynote on your trip to Chicago. Did you do that earlier this year?
Mid-September.
Yeah, I saw that
Yeah.
it was listed as earlier this year. It was quite compelling. And
Man, that was a huge one. That was a huge one. I absolutely loved it.
so why do you wear your fatigues? So is that creates the persona that you're going for, right? Hey, I'm your drill sergeant for the day. You're in boot camp. Is that what you were? I love it.
I don't remember the year, but it was one of my earlier years. I get invited to speak in Las Vegas on 9/11. Okay.
Wow.
Las Vegas, 9/11. And I wasn't the keynote. The keynote speaker, oh my goodness, I can't think of his name, but we've all seen the movie. Lone Survivor. The movie Lone Survivor.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever that guy's name is, I apologize. I can't think of his name. He was the keynote speaker.
Okay.
All right. But I go and I said, okay, this guy's going to be there. He's a keynote speaker. I said, I got to do something. I got to do something different. I spoke on my first book, which is, 10 to Win. And everything I'm talking about is drill instructor. I'm telling stories up the Marine Corps. And something said, just show up in Marine Corps camis.
Yeah.
And I showed up in Marine Corps
Love it.
camis. The crowd went crazy. I made somebody do push-ups. And they went crazy. I'm like, it's just push-ups. What's
Well, it's entertaining though.
Right. But so here's what I found out really quickly is that things that we go through in the military,
Yeah.
the Navy, the Marine Corps, whatever the case may be, civilians, they've never done that before. And for them, it's a big deal. To us, it's an average day.
Yeah.
So I made somebody do push-ups. They love it. People been doing push-ups every single time I speak. Right?
That's awesome.
And you're right. I show up in my Marine Corps
I haven't done
camis.
one yet, but
You
I will.
haven't done one yet.
I
If
did
you come to
50 this
if
morning.
you come to my boot camp, you will do push-ups.
That's funny.
But that's how it started.
So how do you balance public speaking and entrepreneurship and make it work? That's I know that's a tough one, but
actually it's one and the same. How do I balance public speaking and entrepreneurship?
we're public
because
speaking
my-
right now, which
So-
is taking me away from my day to day. So I guess it's similar.
Well, but for me, it's not because this is. I mean, I have my schedule, but this is part of what I do because it's exposure, right? Your level of success is determined by your level of exposure. It's called inside reality, outside perception. Watch this.
Like it.
Inside reality. All right. Inside reality. If I were to say, Tim, tell me about what you believe about Digital Boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
You can, we're number one in this. We can do this. We can do it. You go through all
Yeah, I
that,
can go
right?
on. I can go on and on for 3 hours.
Yes, that's the inside reality. Here's the outside perception, depending on who you're talking to. I never heard of Digital Boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This company's better. Oh, Digital Boardwalk is the best. What is your outside perception?
Mm-hmm.
So my inside reality, when it comes to sales training, I'm the best. That's the inside reality. You ask me, oh, I'm the best.
And what's the outside?
They don't know about me.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
So you need exposure.
I need exposure because they don't know about me. When I went to Chicago,
our 34 listeners,
your 34 listeners, I need all 34 of you to share this.
and I need you 34 listeners to share this with 34 more listeners so we can become.
So what, next year?
There you go.
34,000.
There you
Yeah.
go. So that's what I mean about it. So again, the entrepreneurs that are listening, the business owners that are listening, your level of success is going to be determined by your level of exposure. The technology gets me exposure.
Yeah.
Right? The people that I hire, Semi, which I want to have him on as a guest, helps me get exposure. Because when I went to Chicago, think about it, it was 300 and something all business owners in there. Had never heard me before. Man, when I tell you that my business, it was already blowing up, I couldn't even take all on the business that I got that day.
So what I hear is I have job security.
Oh yeah, I got job security. Absolutely. 100%.
We all have job security. That's good.
100%.
So let's dive into your books. Let's talk about being an author and your influences. I want to do a kind of a deep dive into the themes of your books, how writing has influenced your career, and thought leadership in your career and thought leadership in sales and business. How has writing kind of intertwined with your, or I don't want to say intertwined, but pulled those thoughts out of your brain, put them on page, and give them to your audience? And how has that impacted you as an individual?
So if you were to ask 100 people, would you like to write a book? Have you ever thought about writing a book? The overwhelming majority of them would say yes. But then if you ask how many of you have written a book, I bet you it'll be 2 to 3%.
Yeah,
2 or 3 people.
I agree.
And because I was there, and here's the reason why. Is because you're worried about what you're going to write. Are people going to like it? You're worried about what I have to say. Is it going to make sense? You're worried about what I have to say. Is it going to be good? You're too concerned about what other people think.
You just got to get it out there.
You just got to get it out there. So when I tell you it is easy, people don't believe this. It's easy to write a book.
Why is it so easy for people to go out and post whatever they frickin' think of in the moment on social media?
Yeah.
But afraid to write a book?
Do you know, that's perfect example, Tim, because you could write a book on, here are my last 100 posts of my thoughts. You can self-publish it. So I know there are publishers out there, they're going to be upset at me about saying this.
Yeah.
You don't have to get a publisher to publish a book. You can, I used a publisher on one book, and only because I co-authored the book with someone else. Watch this, my first 2 books I self-published. My 4th book I self-published. My 4th book makes a killing, no publisher. Number 1 and 2, you know what book makes the least amount of money?
What?
Book number 3.
Why?
The one where I used a publisher.
The one where you use because the funds don't go to you.
And it costs more to order the book, and I'm not going to even name the publisher.
So is it okay to tell the audience how to print and go to print with a book without a publisher?
Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon. I'm just being completely honest with you. Amazon. You write your book. You hire somebody. I hire somebody to do my pictures.
Did you use a ghostwriter?
No, heck no. Every word I wrote is my word. Team, listen to me. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
I'm hitting this because I'm hitting this doggone table because you don't need a ghostwriter. Write your book. Write your thoughts. You will always be 100% correct. Do you know why? They're your thoughts.
Yeah.
It's your opinion. You can't be wrong in your opinion.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you're taking your opinion, you're putting it on page.
Yes.
You're not using a publisher, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to come out of the woodwork and hopefully comment on this out of my 34 listeners.
It's up to you. I'm telling you what I did.
and so Steve's most profitable book is the one that he published himself, or he took to Amazon.
I'm telling you, number 1, number 2, and number 4.
Okay.
Number 1, number 2, and number 4. My most profitable books.
Can you tell me the titles of 1 through 4 real quick?
So number 1 and 2 are motivational. So number 1 is 10 to Win.
Okay.
Number 2, Nobody Cares, Work Harder. Now 3 and 4 are sales books. So 3 is Supercharge your multi-line agency. It's a sales book for multi-line insurance agents.
So it's targeted at insurance agents, where the other 2 were more generalized.
But number 4 is only for insurance agents.
Okay.
Number 4.
But 3 was your most profitable book.
No, 3 was the least.
4 was your most profitable.
4.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't written 5. The 4th one right now, I don't need to write. I don't need to write anymore. And so watch this. Number 1, I charge $20. Number 2, $20. Number 3, $25. Number 4, $397.
Wow. How many pages is it?
I can't keep them on the shelf.
Man, that's awesome. So would you mind providing our audience with and this isn't a scripted question, this is just coming out of my brain, but
Sure.
Provide them with like not necessarily a step-by-step process, but what would they do first
To write the book?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. It's
what's
simple.
the first thing that they need to do?
First thing you need to do is get out of your own head. That's
Okay.
number 1.
All right.
All right. Number 2, start writing. Listen to me. Don't worry about punctuation. That's not your job. That's the editor's job. Don't worry about punctuation. Don't worry about sentence structure. Start writing. Every single day, you should write something. You got to decide what you want your book to be on. Come up with a couple of chapters, but just continue to writing. Don't worry about should this go first. That's not your job. Your job is only to write. Now, once you got everything, now you have, and I'm going to show you how to do this for free. You guys are going to love it. Now, once you got everything, now it has to be put in structure. All right. So now you got all these pages of your random thoughts. Now you got to hire an editor. All right. Now you got to hire somebody maybe to do a cover or, take a picture of you. You got to have somebody to break it down that can do all that for you. Somebody that puts it in the format. You take all of that. You send it to Amazon. Amazon prints my books, number 1 and number 2, for $3.25. That's what it cost me. Land it at my door. One book, $3.25.
Now, did you?
I sell it for $20.
Okay, and I don't want to get ahead of you.
Okay.
I want to let you continue with the process, but I do want to know how you promoted your book. So I'm sure that's towards the end. So let's get into that after you keep going down this rabbit hole.
Right. Now let me show you how I did it for free. It's going to blow your mind. I want to say Cat, if I'm not mistaken. So here's what I did. You decide you're going to write a book, and then you go to your friends, you go to family, you go to people that you know. And I said this. I said, all right, Cat. I'm talking about Kathleen. I said, hey, Kat, I'm going to write a book. The name of the book is called 10 to Win. Once the book is published, I'm going to charge $20 for each book. Would you do me a favor, and would you pre-purchase a copy for $15? And guess what Kat said?
She probably said yeah.
She said yes.
And that helps you get on the bestsellers list.
She gave me, no, not even about the bestsellers.
Okay.
No, what you're talking about is like Amazon bestseller.
Right.
No, I'm talking about
that's what Quint does.
All right, so I'm talking about a printed book.
Okay.
So Kat gave me $15 Tim gives me $15. Bob gives me $15. The whole time, $15 from everybody keeps going into my account. I keep writing.
Ah,
You got it?
Okay.
that's
Takes me 90 days to write my first book. All right? You know how many $15 you get from people? So by the time it was time to hire an editor charged me X amount of dollars. Good thing I got all this money in this account.
Right.
You see what I mean?
yeah. No, I got you.
Right? So everything that I had to pay for the book, I already had the money. And so at the end of it, Amazon, I order books. All the books come. I go to Kat. Thank you so much, Kat. Here's your autographed copy. I give it all these books. And then I still had like 100 books left. Because again, they're only $3.25. I got paid $15 for a $3.25 book. So I gave everybody their book. I had the money, paid everything I needed to, and then I had an additional $100 that I charged 20. You do the math, $20 times 100. I made that money on my first book,
I love that.
and I did it for
Love
book number 2. And by the time I got to book number 4, my most profitable book, it's a sales manual. I wrote that thing and had it bound in 60 days. And it's printed right here in Pensacola by Tommy Armstrong. Guess where I met Tommy
I
Armstrong?
know BNI.
BNI, I'm telling
I
you
know
right
Tommy. I
now.
haven't seen Tommy in a while.
Oh, man, Tommy's business is blowing up. I'm
Good.
telling you, just like your business blew up from
Yeah.
BNI, mine, his did as well.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Where was I going with this? So, printing the book. So you collect the money. You
Yep.
collect the money from everybody interested in the book that hasn't been written yet.
Yes.
You write the book.
Yes.
You put it out there. When you go to a speaking event, do you give away books?
I give away books. I'll do both. So I'll
Okay,
sell
so you do
books.
both.
So
But you sign them.
I sign them. It's
Yeah.
autograph. Everybody, is it autograph? Of course, it's already autographed.
Yeah.
So I'll sell books for $20. I'll give them away because again, man, you want to talk about running a business. When I first started, Tim, I thought that I was going to make a lot of money from selling books.
Yeah,
That's not where the money is.
but it promotes you.
It promotes
who
you.
you are and what's in your brain.
It's what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here.
Influence,
Influence. It qualifies you as an expert because, like I said,
credibility.
thank you. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It gives you credibility because a lot of people want to write a book and they go, I don't have what it takes to write a book. And you go, you've written 4? Oh my God. This guy's written 4 books. Oh my God. He's
Yeah.
so smart.
Yeah.
He's so great. He's written 4. I'm like, yeah, I'm an author. I'm a 4-time author.
So we're gonna
Yeah,
feed
I'm
we're gonna
an
feed our favorite author and speaker today, Steve. One more beer before we go into our surprise segment, and then we'll maybe talk about a couple takeaways and we'll wrap up. So Suds, take it away. Let's learn about the final beer of the day.
All right, the final beer is from our own Pensacola Bay Brewery, the Pensacola Original American Lager, made with 100% American Pilsner malt combined with noble hops, delivering crisp, light, and extremely drinkable beer, perfect for the Florida summer.
Straightforward. Good in the sun, good in the heat. I can lay by the pool and drink that one. So here's what we're gonna do. Steve's downing them. We've got these little 6-ounce flighters, and he's just shooting them like shots. That's good, and that's why he's been so speaky the last 2 beers. That's why we do this. We get people to open up a little more. I don't think we had to do it with Steve either way, but it's good. So we're going to go into our final segment. This is going to go quick, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to play some sound bites for you, Steve.
Okay.
Now, you heard this first one earlier, so try to act surprised. We're going to play 3 sound bites of inspirational quotes. And all I need you to do is guess who it is. And maybe add your own insight to that quote. Now, this first quote is very long. There's a pause in the middle, so let the pause happen and let the quote finish before you get excited and jump on the mic.
Okay.
So with that, Suds, let's hear the first soundbite.
You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you.
It's easy to find excuses for why you're not making the move.
Yep.
Steve, what are your thoughts about that? Who is it, by the way?
First off, it's Rocky Balboa.
All right. I love
Rocky
it.
Balboa, Sylvester Stallone. And life, and here's my take on it real quick. So life happens to everybody. Life is going to happen. It's my second book. Nobody cares. Work harder. And here's what I said about excuses. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent, used to build monuments of nothingness. And those who specialize in the frequent use of them seldom succeed at anything else. Therefore, I have no excuses.
I love that.
Damn.
And you're going to love me here in a minute. But so what I like about Rocky's quote, he's an iconic character, right? In a movie. That was one of the sequels. I don't remember if it was 5 or 6. He definitely made an impression on my childhood. He overcame all the odds to become who he was, and of course to allow multiple sequels in the movie. But you know, you did the same thing. You overcame the odds of coming from the projects, and how that kind of, I don't want to say suppressed, but I think that's a word that we might use, is because it kind of suppresses opportunity. I think when you're not given the same odds as maybe, well, I came from the baby of 6 in an Army family. So I'm not going to, you know, my parents struggled.
Yeah.
My parents struggled, but it's across the spectrum. So, I love that. I love that quote. I love how it resonated with your story. And I think they're synonymous.
Oh, big time. Big time.
So the next one I like, because it sort of describes you.
Okay.
All right. You became a Marine, a State Farm agent, then an owner, and a motivational speaker for other agents. And you did all the overcoming the odds as someone who grew up in the projects of Pensacola, and the odds were against you. This guy was adopted by a man who dropped out of high school and a mother who dropped out of college. Then he himself dropped out of college to follow his dream. He's a pioneer who allowed fate to connect the dots of his future, just like you did, Steve. Listen and see if you know who this is.
Okay.
You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever, because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. And that will make all the difference.
Don't know who that is.
You mentioned him earlier in this talk, Steve.
No way.
That's Steve Jobs.
No way.
Yeah. Steve
I
Jobs.
haven't heard that.
Steve Jobs' parents were dropouts from high school and college, and they didn't want him to be. He was an adopted child. So, his mom wanted him to be adopted, but that she was giving away her child, wanted him to be adopted by a very esteemed professor or someone like that, definitely someone who graduated from college. And the family didn't want him. The family that he was supposed to go to didn't want him. This family took him, and he was a last minute, I guess, choice through the whole adoption process. His mom found out later and was extremely upset that he didn't go to college graduates.
I did not know that.
And look what they did. They wanted him to go to college, so they were putting him in college because they didn't have, that opportunity, and he dropped out himself. But connect the dots. It's not about, and we talked about this before, history is always going to be with you. But where you go in the future, that's solely up to you. So Steve, what I was talking about is Steve Jobs, all the odds, weren't really against him. I mean, he had a great childhood. He had great adopted parents. They weren't what his biological mother expected to raise him, but he dropped out of college, and he tells other people in a keynote, other students, connect the dots. So what he's telling them is, you're going to connect the dots. You're going to have a journey of your own, no matter where it takes you. Me personally, I always talk about how I had several chapters in my life. I had, my early years, the Navy. I had this post-Navy part.
Actor.
Yeah, where I lived in California trying to be an actor. I was poor as dirt. I was scrounging up money on a Friday just to get a 6-pack of beer. Yes, I drank beer back then too, folks. Just to get some beer. I ate tuna, crackers, and ramen noodles because I couldn't afford steak. And I will not touch ramen noodles and tuna anymore, mainly because I remember that period and it had a psychological effect on me. But the dots connected. I followed the dots. I went to California to be an actor, but I met two technology mentors that took me under their wing, kind of showed me some of the ropes, got me back in IT, and I followed my dream, and I wrote my first business plan while I was out there, and the rest is history. But it was a course changer for me, and all the dots in my life connected. And when I look back, every dot, I call it fate. A lot of people, if you're not religious, fate means something, because I think there is a story written for every single one of us sitting here today. And we're going to end up where we're supposed to end up. And it's the journey. And we're not expecting the journey as it's played out for us. I mean, we've all had our highs and lows, but we end up where we're supposed to be. So
you are one person away or one relationship away from blowing up.
Like it. So we have one more quote. I hope you can guess this last person. I really like this guy. He's motivational. His energy's crazy high, and I've seen him rise through the ranks over the years. Let's see if you can guess who this is.
Okay. Excuses are the tools of the incompetent used to build monuments of nothingness, and those who specialize in the frequent use of them seldom succeed at anything else. Therefore, I have no excuses. You got to be willing to move forward.
Who is that, Steve?
That guy's a hack. Don't listen. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about.
I pulled that out of your Chicago talk.
Did you really?
Yeah, and I was impressed. I'm like, all right, I see what he's doing here.
Of course, I don't know if your listeners will believe this or not, right? But that was not planned.
Oh, it wasn't?
I mean, I don't believe in excuses. Man, what you just heard me say and what you just played,
yeah,
all of my kids know that.
Do they?
I make them know it. Because excuses get you nowhere in life. I'm not saying that you didn't have a bad issue. I'm not saying you didn't have a bad life. I'm not saying you didn't have a bad childhood. I'm not saying that your husband didn't leave you. I'm not saying that your wife didn't cheat. I'm not saying that you didn't get beat. I'm not denying any of that. But the truth of the fact of the matter is this: life happens to everyone. Everyone. Yours may have just been a little bit harder or a little bit different, but no one has just had a peachy keen life.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to make a decision. Am I going to let that beat me down, keep me down, hold me down, or am I going to pick myself up and continue to move forward? Because I hate to say this, but it's the absolute truth. The second book is nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. Do you know when I wrote my second book? Is I was working for the post office. This is where the inspiration came from. I was working for the post office. I get a phone call. Hey, your son is in the hospital. Got to go to the hospital. I go to the post office. Hey, my son's in the hospital. I go to the hospital, and within 30 minutes of me being there, he died. Okay? Lose a son, you're devastated. You're devastated. When it was done, you're devastated. You go to the funeral and everything. The job says, all right, we're so sorry to hear that. When are you coming back to work? My mortgage company says, oh, my God, Mr. Wilmer, we're so sorry to hear that. When can you make that payment? The electric company said, we're so sorry to hear that. When's the electric bill? When can you make that electric bill payment? Life kept going.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. Life kept going. And that was the trigger for me to go, man.
That was the twist.
Nobody really cares because again, guys, here's the point. Other people have lost children. Somebody else's son died. Somebody else's mother died. Somebody else's daughter died. Somebody else's father died. Somebody else got raped. Somebody else did this. Somebody else lost this. Somebody else. I'm telling you, I had to realize, man, I'm not that special. I'm not that special. So if this stuff is happening to every single person, what's going to be the difference? Am I going to lay down and quit and give up?
Yeah.
Or am I going to pick myself up and continue to move forward? Nobody cares, bro. You just got to work harder.
Got to pick yourself up. Not every day is going to be peachy keen.
Right.
You have got to learn to drill through it. I love that. And that comes back to wearing the thick skin, having patience, and knowing that, knowing that your future story is laid out for you. You just got to follow your own journey to get there. Steve, we're going to wrap up. We're going to, why don't you tell our audience, look up at the camera, tell our audience, if you have any upcoming events, how they can connect with you, and any parting words you might have for our listeners.
Yeah, I've got an event coming up in November, but it's in Iowa. And I apologize, I don't know the city. I don't probably know until my stuff gets booked. Somebody makes it. I know it's in Iowa. I'm speaking in Iowa.
Are you going to eat corn?
I don't know. Of course, I'm going to be in Iowa. But that's the last event that I'll do for the year, unless somebody really wants me to,
How can our audience connect with you?
Connect. Then I'll come in December. You can go to, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me through Facebook, and I'm under Steve Speaks. So you can look that up, Steve Speaks. You can also, let's say if you want to hear from me constantly, you can join my masterclass. So you can go to my website, stevespeaksmasterclass.com. stevespeaksmasterclass.com. And you can become a member, a Patreon member. I do live videos. It's like a class. Again, it's class.
Now, teaching what?
I teach on everything from the things you heard today, starting a business, writing a book, motivation, inspiration, leadership, life lessons. Just go in there, you'll see.
Don't forget about the book giveaway. Make sure you follow our promos and check out the show. Steve wants to give you a book. Next episode, we have a wonderful person that I've known for many years, just like Steve, coming on. She's from the real estate industry.
Yeah.
Jessica Duncan will be coming on, and she'll be coming on to talk about the infusion of technology in her rapid scale that she's accomplished. She is blowing up just like Steve and the rest of us. We all come from the same place.
Yeah.
We've all started in the poise of B&I. Steve, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure. Steve's a new neighbor of mine as well, and we still haven't hung out in the neighborhood. So we may have to continue this beer drinking session back
my
in
back porch.
Star Lake. So,
back porch.
ladies and gentlemen, again, Steve Speaks. You know where to find him, and I appreciate you for coming. Make sure you subscribe and listen to more shows. Nerds on Tap is going to blow up. Become part of the core audience that makes that happen. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
34,000.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, my fellow nerds and beer lovers. Stay tuned for more Nerds on Tap. Oh, and one more thing. Help us spread the nerdy love and the love for great brews by sharing this podcast with your friends, colleagues, and fellow beer enthusiasts. Let's build a community that embraces curiosity, innovation, and the enjoyment of a cold one.